This video has been provided to you as a means to learn more about a typical installation of the Water Wizard 2.0 touch-free automatic. For maximum benefit when viewing, please have your Water Wizard 2.0 manual and enclosed drawings available. It is also suggested that you watch the Water Wizard 2.0 promotional video before watching this training video. The information you are about to review was accurate when this video was produced. Jim Coleman Company reserves the right to modify this car wash system without prior notice. This video will demonstrate a typical Water Wizard 2.0 installation in a newly constructed facility. A typical bay is 15 feet 4 inches wide and 34 feet long inside dimensions. Each installation may differ. Contact Jim Coleman Company if you have questions concerning bay dimensions. Voltages mentioned may differ for international installations. Refer to your manual and the M1, M1A, and M2 drawings for installation details. Refer to the picture reference pages in the front of your manual for common names of components. Please note that most smaller components and hoses are shipped in 2 large containers. Step 1. Setting the pump unit. Move the pump unit with the control panel attached into the equipment room. Locate it on the wall adjacent to the automatic bay and near the center of the bay wall. Leave an 18-inch minimum clearance between the pumping unit and the wall. Once the unit is in place, level the pump stand using the adjustable leveling legs. Step 2. Remove and mount the control center. Mount the control center to the equipment room wall. Panel is to be mounted 46 inches from finished floor. Note that the control center is pre-wired to the pump stand and has approximately 6 feet of flexible conduit to allow some movement when mounting. Step 3. Setting the gantry tracks. Locate the M1 plan view print for proper dimensions when positioning the gantry tracks and guide rails. Locate the center of the wash bay and mark a chalk line the length of the wash bay. Measure and mark a line 56 1/8 inches to either side of the center line. Notice this gives you a total distance of 112 1/4 inches between the 2 outside lines. This is the location of the center line of your gantry tracks. Move the gantry tracks into position, making sure the line is in the center of the track. End of the track should be 18 inches from the inside wall at the entrance end of the wash bay. Note that the track end with an approximate 49-inch gap between footers is the entrance end. Set a transit at a neutral location that will allow full-length view of both rails. Using the transit, check the elevation of the bay floor at each end and the middle of the track. Measure from the concrete, not from the top of the track, to determine the highest point at which track will be mounted. This becomes our starting point or benchmark. It is good to write each measurement at the corresponding footer for later reference. It is recommended to use a laser level to mount the gantry track in a straight line. The track must be exactly straight. Using a measuring tape, check beam distance from track at each mounting plate before drilling and after tightening anchor bolts. Also, continue to check track height. Use a hammer drill and 1/2-inch anchor bolts provided to bolt the track in place. Begin at the highest point along the track and work away from there, always continuing to check and recheck the levelness and straightness of the rails. Bay floors will have different degrees of slope, which will require the use of various shims to level the tracks. A number of stainless shims are provided with each unit. Always set one track completely before starting second track installation. You can then use that track as a benchmark to install the other one. Set the second track in place and measure between the rails diagonally to line track up end to end. Then make sure you have the exact measurement of 112 1/4 inches from the outside of one track to the inside of the other track at the top. This is extremely critical. Check for this dimension at every bolt location. Step 4. Setting the gantry on the tracks. Gantry should be positioned with control panel facing the entrance of the wash bay. Once the gantry is setting on the tracks, note that the unit will not roll freely until drive motors are in operation. Applying a lubricant to the tracks such as WD-40 will allow the gantry to be moved. This will be helpful when mounting the wall and gantry booms. Step 5. Setting the guide rails. Using the M1 Plan View print, mount the 3-inch aluminum guide rails. Mark a line 10 inches in from the center line of the gantry track. Align the guide rail mounts with this line. Do not level the guide rails. Allow the rails to follow the contour of the bay floor. Guide rails are to have 82 inches inside to inside dimension. Step 6. Mounting the gantry and wall boom assemblies. The wall boom. Using the Water Wizard 2.0 M1A elevation drawing, locate the mounting position for the wall boom assembly. Note, there will be 2 different dimensions given, one for units equipped with blowers and a different height when blowers are not present. Using the boom mounting plate as a template, mark and drill a 1/2 inch mounting holes. Holes are to be drilled completely through the wall. Mount the wall boom bracket using through the wall bolts and backup plate located on the opposite side of the wall. The backup plate, supplied with the installation kit, will give the wall boom additional support. Locate the wall boom, the longer of the 2 booms, and the 1 1/4 bearings. Slide the 1 1/4 bearings into each end of the boom shaft. Set the distance between bearings at 14 3/4 inches from the center line of the bolt holes. Then tighten the set screws on the bearings. Secure the boom to the bracket with 1/2 inch stainless nuts and lock washers provided. Once again, using the elevation drawing, locate the mounting position of the transition box. Again, note the difference in height dimensions for blower and non-blower equipped units. Also note the spacing between the boom bracket and the transition box. At that position, mark and cut a 15-inch by 15-inch opening into the equipment room wall. Place the transition box over the 15-inch by 15-inch opening with the hose opening facing the wall boom mount and secure to the wall. Connect the 45-inch by 1-inch hose to the transition box fitting and to boom fitting. It may be necessary to remove the black nylon bracket to make this connection more easily. The gantry boom. Locate the gantry boom and slide the 1 1/4 inch bearings onto the lower end of the shaft. Set the distance between the center line of the bearing bolts holes at 14 inches. The bearing race of the lower bearing should be flush with the end of the shaft. Tighten the set screws on both bearings. Mount the bearings onto the stainless steel mounting plate located at the center of the wash gantry. Make sure the bottom of this boom will pass over the top of the outside blowers as the gantry moves. Once the gantry boom is mounted, make sure the gantry boom and the wall boom are approximately the same height. When both booms are set, locate 1-inch by 28-inch long high-pressure hose and connect to the fittings in both booms. Step 7. Installing the bay equipment, treadle plate, eye boxes, and Prox targets. Use the M1 drawing for proper placement of equipment mentioned. Mount the stop station treadle plate exactly as specified on the M1 Plan View drawing. Once the treadle plate is in place, you can mount the eye boxes. Each stop station eye box should be 7 feet 8 inches from the exit end of the track to the center of the box. Each entrance eye box should be 9 3/4 inches from the entrance end of the track to the center of the eye box. Mark this distance on both sides and then mark a straight line between them. Proper alignment is critical to smooth operation. Now locate and mount the stainless home and the end of the track Prox targets. Refer to details B on the M1A drawing for measurements and mounting locations. The undercarriage pipe. Anchor the pipe to the floor of the undercarriage trench. If there is not a trench, the undercarriage pipe will be surface mounted. The center nozzle should be aligned with the center line of the wash bay. Do not install the spray nozzles until the pipe has been purged during startup. Step 8. Installing the hoses from the Gantry Boom to pump unit. Move the gantry to the entrance end of the gantry track before beginning the hose installation. Each Water Wizard 2.0 installation is supplied the necessary hoses. If the automatic bay is one or more bays away from the equipment room, the customer will need to purchase a hose extension kit. From the Water Wizard 2.0 pumping unit and the spot-free delivery pump, the hoses connect to the couplings mounted in the back of the transition box. From the bay side of the transition box, the hoses run through the wall boom and gantry boom to the wash gantry. Let's start with the 1-inch high pressure. The 1-inch high pressure hose connects directly to the outlet of the CAT 3535 pump. The hose then connects to the fitting mounted in the back of the transition box. Connect the 1-inch by 60-inch long high-pressure hose to the gantry boom. Do not connect this hose to the gantry until the lines have been purged during startup. The 3/8 push-lock product hoses for the tire cleaner and triple shine will connect at the back of the corresponding gauge panel located above the chemical tanks. The 1/2-inch push-lock hose for the pre-soak products will connect directly to the corresponding pump. The 3/8 hose for the air supply will connect to the air regulator mounted on the pump stand. From there, the hoses connect to the back of the transition box. Both the wall boom and the gantry boom are pre-plumbed for both the high and low pressure lines. Connect the water and product lines between the transition box and boom, between the two booms, and from the boom to the gantry. It may be necessary to change fitting locations in the transition box for the low pressure products to attain a smooth flow from the box to the boom. If the system has a Winter Wizard winterization package, the 1/2-inch recirculating lines connect to the hose barbs installed in the boom frame. Undercarriage connection. The 1/2-inch high-pressure line will connect to the 454P DEMA valve located in the front center of the pumping unit. This hose connects to the stainless undercarriage pipe in the wash bay. Leave the spray tips out of the undercarriage pipe until the hose and pipe have been purged during startup. Step 10. Utility hookup to the pump unit, gantry, and bay equipment. Pump unit. All incoming water and electrical connections should be done by a local licensed plumber and electrician. This includes proper installation and startup of all upstream equipment such as softeners and water heaters. Connect the incoming soft water to the 1-inch brass T in the back of the water holding tank. The 3/4-inch hose on the bottom of the T will feed all the chemical mixing valves. Electrical Control Center. The electrical is to be brought into the electrical control panel from either side or bottom of the cabinet. Do not put holes in the top of the cabinet under any circumstances. The 125 amp and 230 volt 3-phase service is to be connected to the top side of the control panel's main disconnect located in the upper right-hand corner of the panel. The amp 110 volt will connect to the auxiliary switch mounted to the left side of the 230 volt main disconnect switch. This needs to be a dedicated 110 volt service. Gantry. Each Water Wizard is shipped with 12.5 SO cord for 230 volt 3-phase power, 12.3 SO cord for 24 VAC volt power, and a 4-conductor with ground-shielded communication cable for controls. There will be an additional 4 Ford SO cord if the unit has an onboard blower. This will connect to the top of the CAT pump motor starter in the electrical control center and at the blower control box of the gantry. The cables will provide power and controls from the electrical control center in the equipment room to the electrical control box located on the passenger side of the wash gantry. Cables follow the same path through the transition box and 3 conduits mounted in the booms. The 12.5 SO cord is the 230 volt 3-phase power cord. The 12-5 cord will connect to the bottom side of the gantry breaker located to the left of the main disconnect inside the electrical control center. The green wire connected to the grounding strip. Run the 12-5 SO cord to the gantry to the back of the gantry electrical panel and terminate at the bottom of the gantry disconnect switch. Connecting the 12-3 SO cord. Note that in the 12-3 SO cord that black is 24-volt AC hot, white is 24-volt AC neutral, and green is ground. At terminal strip number 2 in the electrical control center, connect the black wire to terminal number 1 and the white wire to terminal number 4. The green wire will go to the ground strip. Connect the other end of the terminal strip in the gantry control panel. The black wire connects to terminal number 1 and the white wire to terminal number 3. The green connects to ground. Connecting the communication cable. The shielded gray cable is the signal wire from the processor located in the electrical control center in the equipment room to the input-output cards located on the wash gantry. Connect the female plug end of this cable to the male portion located at the bottom left-hand corner of the electrical control center. This gray cable has 4 conductor and 1 bare ground wires. Black and white wires are communications, and blue is 24-volt DC negative, brown is 24-volt DC positive. The black wire connects to terminal 19 BDH COM and the white to terminal 20 BDL COM on the gantry terminal strip. The blue 24-volt DC negative connects to terminal 16 and brown 24-volt DC positive to terminal 17. The ground wire connects to the grounding strip. Bay optic wiring. The Water Wizard has 4 electro-optic sensors, eyes, 2 transmitters and 2 receivers that sense the vehicle entering the bay wash when the vehicle is in proper wash position. We mounted the boxes earlier. 2 at the entrance and 2 located at the treadle plate. Refer to the eyes wiring diagram in the installation procedures section of your manual to properly terminate these wires. Wiring the Please Wait Enter Now sign. The 2 position sign will be pre-wired with 4 conductor cable. In the electrical control center, terminal strip number 1 is the 24-volt DC terminal. Connect the red wire to Please Wait on terminal number 19, the blue wire to Enter Now on terminal number 20, the white wire to the sign common on number 18, and the green to the grounding terminal block. Chemical tanks. Before we can begin startup, we must first have proper detergents and protectants. The Water Wizard 2.0 uses a Hydrominder automatic chemical mixing system. Using 3/4-inch clear hose, connect the Hydrominder's chemical inlet to the corresponding product tank. Note that the check valves and ceramic weights are to be installed on the concentrate end of the hose. This keeps product lines full for proper operation of the Hydrominder mixing valve. Startup checklist. Please refer to your manual for more detailed information on startup. Check all quarter-turn valves located at the rear of the pump unit and under cold water tank to make sure they are fully open. Check the oil level in the cat pump. With the main equipment room panel breaker on and the safety disconnect on the electrical control center off, check for the proper incoming power at the switch on both the 230-volt and the 110-volt. If the voltage is correct, turn the safety disconnect on the electrical control center to the on position to power up the Water Wizard 2.0. Manual operation. Switch the manual control toggle switch in the gantry control panel to the on position. The buttons allow you to move the gantry on the track, raise and lower the wash boom, and operate the oscillating motors. Press the reverse button. The gantry should move toward the entrance end of the bay. If not, reverse 2 of the incoming 3-phase wires and check again. Using gantry buttons, move the gantry to each end of the track and check for proper proximity adjustment for the home and the end of track proxes. These proximity switches are pre-wired, but they will need to be mounted and adjusted. Proper adjustment would have the end of the Prox switch adjusted a maximum of 1/4 inch from the targets. The face of the proximity switch should never touch any solid surface. Now use the gantry buttons to move the gantry to the middle of the wash bay. This is the best position to flush high pressure line and spot-free rinse line. Make sure open end of hoses are outside the gantry. Once flushing is complete, move the manual switch to the off position. The gantry will automatically return to the home position. Operator Interface Panel. Please read this section of the manual prior to startup. Using the test screen on the Operator Interface Panel, scroll to High Pressure Rinse and toggle this function on for a minimum of 5 minutes to flush the high pressure lines. Again, using the test screen, test each function and adjust its operation as necessary according to instructions in the operator's manual. You can adjust the air and product mixture for all low-pressure products inside the low-pressure manifold box. This is located on the driver's side of the wash gantry. Perform a wheel test according to its instructions in operator's manual. This must be done before running a complete wash cycle. The system is now ready to wash vehicles using factory default settings. The Water Wizard 2.0 has many operational choices that allow maximum flexibility when designing your wash packages. These options are explained in detail in the operator's manual. We encourage you to allow us to help when setting up your wash packages. Any areas that need attention or correction usually will manifest itself in the first few wash cycles. It is always suggested that you, as the installer, wash as many vehicles as possible before leaving the site. An installation and startup checklist is provided in your operator's manual. Complete these and provide a copy to the customer. Also, it is very important to review the maintenance list with customer or their agent. Make sure they understand how to and the extreme importance of proper preventative maintenance. It is always a good idea to obtain a signed copy of all checklists once completed. Thank you for taking the time to view this video. Jim Coleman Company appreciates every effort made by our family of distributors and their representatives in proper installation, training, and operation of all our equipment. For further detailed information concerning your upcoming installation that may not be contained here, please contact Jim Coleman Company. For more information, contact your local distributor or Jim Coleman Company direct at 1-800-999-987 or info@jcolemanco.com, or visit our website www.jcolemanco.com.